go through this crazy song line by line, shall we? As a tarot reader, I think I have a unique perspective upon this song. So at the end of the lyrical analysis, I will give my reading of the cards as they are placed within a Celtic cross. That line is already playing off the impossible, paradoxical ability the human race has upon each other. Make me smile. Ha! We think we have the power to force those around us to act a certain way. Since we believe that that is possible, it is possible for those who believe this to be affected. My reprobates would be Satan's followers, you who choose to act in a way that is not right. Time to place you center stage. The you here is clearly the precious family. Weeping blood, let's cut them up, the sheeps of God. Blood weeps, and martyrs die. And this is a lead up to the next line. The sheeps of God for devil's sake. The first reference of tarot and the Bible. Only as it applies to God's morality does the Satan exist. So as she exists, it is in relation to righteousness. Prove you're worthy of my pain, show no weakness, test of faith. In this, Mouse is calling on sinners to show her that they are with her. The Apostle Paul wrote, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Showing no weakness is a way to align with the devil then, for owning strength is to rely on oneself. Hanged man, as I hold your fate, his judgment I will always taint. As was written on genius.com, the Hanged Man card represents a lack of direction, uncertainty, and the need for sacrifices in order to achieve goals. You must stop and contemplate your situation, be patient, and accept that the sacrifices are needed in order to find the correct path. Even if you find the urgent need to act, you are bound for disaster until you slow down, think it through, and make the necessary sacrifices. The Judgment card is a reckoning. The consequences of past actions, both our own and others, have caught up to you, and now is the time to reflect on yourself in the circumstances you find yourself in. You cannot act correctly until you look on yourself and your situation with honesty and objectivity. Once you do that, you will find new resolve and the correct way forward. His judgment I will always taint. Another reference that Satan, by definition, will eternally be different than God. Now, I will say that at this point, I will be speculating on things without being sure of what the purpose of the lyric is. Yet, as someone who writes song and poetry myself, I know sometimes you just need to roll with it. Take it all in the darkness. Satan is the queen of this world. For now. Judas and kin, you carve this ritual sin into your heart. In the Gospel of Judas, the betrayer of Christ is seen as one who is called upon by Yeshua for the primary purpose of turning him over to the high priest, a sin that would always be derided by his followers, but was done to fulfill prophecy. It all begins with you. The you here this time refers to God. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Old laws and text discern no known anti-vex, infernal justice perplexing. Old laws and texts are unobvious reference to the Bible. Anti-vex seems to be referencing fighting vexation. Infernal justice perplexes those who contemplate the morality of hell. These three ideas together bring the thought across that the scriptures do not themselves provide an answer to the vexatious idea of infernal justice. However, I will tell you all that the point is not to let go of traditional recorded knowledge, but to lean into the mystery itself. Reader's growing pain. The greatest mystery of all is the meta-mystery. Growing up means leaning into the fact that you will never know everything. And once again, God is the end. I know you have it in your mind to be a good, faithful child. I'll be your guide through worm and snide, my way defiled. Stop. In this, Ironmouse is calling to the faithful to see that she has her place in our story. Her way represents the way of death outside of Christ. Hence the stop. One, two, three, four, I declare a free-for-all. This is the PvP mode where all are enemies. I say this for the Christian parents who need gaming term explanations, though I'm sure many of them will ignore this entire video because, well, those who would reject it see everyone as an enemy. I may be reaching here a little bit. But I must admit that when I heard the Spire's shadow, I immediately thought of Halo Infinite. The Spires are constructs made to rebuild a broken Halo, and the Covenant called the Halos, firing the holy light, which would turn them all into gods, as they believe. In reality, the Halos end all life in the galaxy. And feeding them all is clearly a reference to Yeshua feeding the masses. My personal interpretation of this line is this. As a spire, a single-pointed structure, commonly called a steeple when upon a church, your shadow needs to be brought to light so as to heal the darkest hidden portions of your unconscious. Then, when your shadow is lit, all the parts of you may be embraced and taken care of. Call upon you, Salem's souls. Save your truths for Satan's toll. Do you now embrace me? Well, duh. Salem witches, Satan worshippers, and those of us who see her place upon this earth. I won't leave you hanging in the cold. She will help the hanged man down from the tree. Towers, fools, and wheels of fortune hold the world in its sealed and thaw through. The tower, the fool, the wheel of fortune, and the world are also tarot cards that all seem to tell a consecutive story about your world falling apart, a new beginning, seeing the way that things work, and then coming to true understanding. The sealing and thawing through seems to invoke the idea that once you find true understanding, it will never leave you, and your ideas of this world will become unfrozen. War's mine and unbiased factors. Mouse is saying that she owns war as well as the parts of a whole that hold not to prejudice. His foresight's blind because nothing on sight's thought through. In contrast, this line here is referencing being stuck in the past, because if you cannot see what is on sight or in the present clearly, then you will not be able to accurately predict your own future. It's us and it is them, but all issues cease with an end. While we may have conflict in our current life, none of that matters when we die. When the sun is gone, what do you do then? The outro of the song seems to represent what happens to a person when their belief in themselves slides into darkness, as the sun inverted would represent. All this will be over quick, give them cause with just a twist. Death is in an instant, and a sudden death is like a twist in your story. Rock, it drowns you, sleeping with the fishes. Paper's false, God is not the book itself. And scissors waver at your wrist. This may seem like a children's game, but it is many times played to determine life-changing decisions, the definition of divination. Serve your purpose, earn your rest. You don't deserve rest until you do your work. Find your footing on descent. You can only descend the mountain after you climb it. After all of everything? A redundant phrase referring to the whole twice. You'll find yourself in hell again. The last line in the song might need a little help to have its proper effect. If you are not experiencing hell when you live, figuring out why you feel that way, and dealing with your problems again and again, hell will be the only place that you get to go after you die. Now on to the tarot spread. Beginning with the devil as the current situation, we see chains binding you. The Hanged Man tells you, look at yourself from a new perspective. Find your own soul, despite the devil being in control. The past and the future, judgment and justice, both inverted, represent delusion around God's plan. For if you think that hell is a punishment and not just a natural consequence of the actions that you have lived through, because you are not perfect and you will never be, you will believe that you are always going to be judged worthy of a hell. But these are inversions, because the truth really is that if you accept that the price has been paid, you truly will be able to get out of those consequences. So, as above, so below. In the macroscape, the towers fall, and in the microcosm, the fools are born. This is the end and the beginning. When you accept that your world crumbles, you can face it all with the energy of the Fool. The first card in the Major Arcana, one of the greatest powers that you can embody. Like a rebirth, you look at the world with fresh childlike eyes. Now, the Ascension. You are represented by the Wheel of Fortune. The U card is extremely important because it provides a glimpse into your motivations and how we are presenting ourselves at this time. All other cards in the spread will be colored by this card. If our future looks bright, but we are feeling out of sorts or fearful, then achieving what we are truly capable of might be less obtainable than it needs to be. Alternatively, an overly confident attitude shown in this position could be termed as arrogance by others. The Wheel of Fortune in this position is like to represent being capable of going through the cycles of life with confidence. And the world coming next is like to represent finding completion in your surroundings. The sun inverted in this position seemed to show that you will have trouble with self. if you do not hold to your ability to renew your mind and get past your delusional past, now, the final card in this reading, that is my card. For as she asked, when the sun is gone, what do you do next? I read to you my understanding of this all. The card here is the Three of Swords inverted. Representing overcoming pain and trauma. Essentially, my understanding of the Ironmouse is that she serves her purpose. Hell's ruler. Yet, as the devil, she's not as simple as if God himself ruled the netherworld. God would just stay there. She and him leave. Because, well, they are not God. And so, as you should leave hell just as soon as you encounter it, because you know what puts you there, you find yourself in hell again and again.